Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the fifth webinar of this webinar series, which is under the umbrella of the Network of Researchers in Sustainable Entrepreneurship and Innovation, an initiative of Enhanceria project, the project that supports the research and innovation dimension of the Enhance Alliance of European Universities of Technology. Today, in our webinar, we have Milad Kolagar. He is a lecturer at the Delft Centre for Entrepreneurship at Delft University of Technology, one of our new partners in Enhance Alliance. They joined last year. And we are glad to have you here with us at this webinar. I and Milad met at Luleå University of Technology, where we did the Ph.D. together, Ph.D. in Entrepreneurship and Innovation. And Milad's research interests include sustainable industry, digital servitization, ecosystem transformation and orchestration, business model innovation, and the circular economy. And he has published several papers in peer-reviewed journals. And today he's going to share some of the insights from his published research under the title Smart Solutions in Action, Orchestrating Ecosystems for Sustainable Industry. Please feel free to write your questions in the Q&A function or simply in the chat. So we will take all the questions at the end after the presentation of Milad. So Milad, thanks for being here with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Anmar. Thanks for having me. Thank you for the introduction also. So hello, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar, which is titled Smart Solutions in Action, Orchestrating Ecosystems for Sustainable Industry. So basically, in this webinar, I'll be sharing some insights on how manufacturing firms can leverage data-driven digital services and strategies for bringing sustainable benefits for the industry. And this will mainly be based on the results of my two most recent publications, one in the IEEE Transactions on Engineering Management Journal and the other on the Business Strategy and the Environment Journal. And a quick look at our agenda for this presentation. So I'll begin with an introduction to the pressing need for sustainable practices in the manufacturing industry. And then we will explore the enabling conditions for creating smart solutions that can actually lead to a more sustainable industry. And those enabling conditions include AI-driven optimization, outcome orientation, value co-creation. And then we will move on to a deep dive into ecosystem orchestration by using a multi-level framework to understand how it can actually be implemented in an effective way. And then finally, I will discuss the configurational pathways to sustainability. And at the end, I will wrap up with some key takeaways from our research. So as we know, during the recent decades and with the development of all these sustainability agendas and visions, manufacturing firms are constantly seeking for some new and innovative pathways that can bring them sustainable benefits, basically meaning that it can help them to reduce their environmental footprints, enhance their social impact, and at the same time help them to somehow maintain their economic viability. So basically, they're seeking for some solutions to help them in addressing the climate change and contributing to the decarbonization of their operations, and basically something that can link their business value with the environmental and social responsibility. And in the meanwhile, all these advancements that we see in developing new technologies, such as artificial intelligence and machine learning algorithms, industrial Internet of Things, big data analytics, cloud computing. So all these digital technologies it has led the traditional manufacturers to respond to this need by using the potential of these digital technologies and somehow try to transition from a product orientation to more of a service and solution-oriented business model. And actually, this is a trend which we often refer to as digital servitization, which, as you can see in the definition, it's the transformation in processes, capabilities, and offerings within industrial firms and their associate ecosystems to progressively create, deliver, and capture increased service value arising from a broad range of enabling digital technologies. And this typically involves offering some performance-based, or as we say, outcome-based services and solutions. So, for example, for a service like predictive maintenance in the transportation industry, a provider, which can be a large manufacturer, they can leverage the data from the connected vehicles within the transportation and logistics ecosystem, and then they can analyze that real-time data. And by doing that, they can actually extract the vehicle health, they can extract, for example, some usage patterns, they can extract the maintenance records, and then they can proactively schedule some maintenance activities. They can, for example, reduce the downtime. They can enhance the overall fleet efficiency. And they can basically guarantee a certain level of vehicle uptime, let's say. And then in our research, we identified several key enabling conditions that play a key role in making smart solutions that can basically facilitate sustainable industry transformation. And by smart solutions, we mean a solution which is made by integrating product, service, software systems that are capable of resulting in to servitization. So as I mentioned, transitioning from product orientation to service and solution orientation. So actually, these enabling conditions are basically the main factors that play a role in the digital servitization process, and they can bring sustainable benefits to the industry. And these include AI-driven optimization, outcome orientation, value co-creation, and ecosystem orchestration. And as I mentioned, each of these elements plays a distinct role in enhancing a firm's ability to create smart solutions that can deliver sustainable performance. So basically, what we were looking for in our paper was to somehow figure out how can these different conditions or different elements combine with each other so that they can bring economic, environmental, and social benefits for the industrial customer in a B2B setting. So we wanted to find the different configurational strategies, basically the different pathways that can lead to the same outcome, which is the sustainable performance. And now let's have a look at each of these four enabling conditions one by one. So the first enabling condition is AI-driven optimization, which leverages machine learning and data analytics for improving the decision-making power. So basically, AI technologies like machine learning and predictive analytics, they can enhance a company's ability to make more accurate and data-driven decisions. So for example, manufacturers can use AI to analyze production data. They can identify the inefficiencies within their processes, and they can actually implement some timely adjustment to prevent the resource wastage. And also AI systems can facilitate knowledge generation, meaning that they can integrate vast amounts of data from several sources, and they can actually create some actionable insights for companies. And also by identifying areas of resource overuse or in some situations, maybe underutilization of resources, AI actually helps firms to maximize operational efficiency. So it can help in optimizing the energy consumption in production line, and it can actually help companies in cutting the costs and also reducing the carbon emissions. And then we have outcome orientation as an enabling factor, which basically involves designing service offerings that focus on measurable and sustainable outcomes. So by using real-time monitoring technologies, companies can actually predict and prevent equipment failures, and they can also reduce the downtime and also reduce their environmental footprint. And besides that, in this model, manufacturers take on the responsibility of managing their customers' operations. For example, a provider, a traditional manufacturer, may somehow oversee the logistics operations for a client, and they can also optimize the routes for them or somehow minimize their fuel consumption. And this actually provides customer a service that actually contributes to the sustainable performance of that specific customer. And also companies can become committed to selling and guaranteeing performance. So the outcome-oriented models like Rolls-Royce Power by the Hour, so they can actually link the payment to the achieved outcomes, such as engine uptime, for example. And this can actually ensure that both providers and customers are aligned towards achieving operational and sustainability targets. And then we have value co-creation, which basically emphasizes active collaboration between manufacturers or providers and their customers. And this also involves solving customers' targeted problems. So the firms engage directly with the customers to address their specific challenges. So for example, a manufacturing firm may collaborate with a customer to design a production line that minimizes energy usage while actually maintaining their performance or maintaining their outcome. And actually, customers play an active role in co-developing solutions, and they are basically part of the process to ensure that their unique needs are met. So providers are having closer collaboration with customers for reaching better outcomes, let's say. And then we reach to ecosystem orchestration, which is one of the most challenging but crucial aspects of digital servitization. And it basically involves coordinating all the activities across multiple partners with multiple business models, with diverse organizational structure, with diverse cultures, to somehow contribute to the co-creation and capture of value. So, and this is basically a very complex game. So they need to do continuous adaptation to meet the evolving customer needs. They need to integrate diverse capabilities within an ecosystem. And as Adner described the ecosystem in his 2017 paper, an ecosystem is the alignment structure of a multilateral set of partners that interact for a focal value proposition to materialize. And basically, orchestrating this ecosystem somehow ensures that it functions smoothly and in a very cohesive way, and it can actually foster innovation and sustainability within the ecosystem. And as part of our research, I have developed a multi-level framework for ecosystem orchestration, which consists of three main levels: the individual, the organizational, and also the ecosystem levels. And basically, each of these levels are building on each other. And if they are operationalized properly, they can contribute to digital servitization process, which eventually can lead to economic, environmental, and social benefits for the industry. And as you can see, I also embedded a flowchart within this framework just to better demonstrate the direction that each of these levels should take place. So starting by the individual level, so we can say that the success of ecosystem orchestration depends on having the right mindsets and having the right, let's call it personal traits. So leaders or maybe key personals who are in charge of the orchestration process, they must be proactive, they must be adaptable, they must be capable of promoting collaboration. And also, the continuous training and innovation programs are very essential for developing the skills and developing the capabilities which are needed to manage digital advancements. And all those traits and characteristics and practices somehow lay the foundation for effective participation in a broader ecosystem. I can remember that I was interviewing this lady who was in charge of project management for an end-to-end visibility solution within one of the large manufacturing firms. And she mentioned that trust does not happen between organizations. At the end of the day, trust happens between individuals, between the people who are working within those organizations. And the perspectives, the mindsets that those individuals have. And those perspectives are basically, they're very crucial in somehow directing the organizations and the broader ecosystem towards the co-creation of sustainable solutions. And then we found that as part of the organizational level, maturity and cultural shift towards digital servitization are vital. And this basically involves aligning the organizational structure with the strategic goals and somehow ensuring that the digital resources and capabilities are somehow linked to business model innovation. So basically, how to align the organizational vision and structure with the use of digital resources as a way of creating, delivering, and capturing new values. And besides that, we found that the last activity of the organizational level is focusing on the actual implementation procedure. So implementation management is very crucial. So companies need some, let's say, robust processes to deploy and to manage digital solutions efficiently. And this alignment allows them to integrate with their partners and also contribute effectively to the ecosystem. So basically, this level, the organizational level, tries to ensure that organizations are well prepared to integrate and collaborate within the ecosystem. And then finally, we reach to the ecosystem level, that is where the coordination across all those different organizations and actors happen. And we identified 5 main activities within this level. The first one is key partner identification and interaction planning. So first, firms need to identify the right partners. So they need to establish clear interaction frameworks. So, for example, they need to somehow map out who needs to be the orchestrator, who should be the follower, who should be the complementers, who should be the technology partners, suppliers, and so on. And in this way, they somehow manage to clarify the role distribution among partners and ensure that every actor within the ecosystem understands their contributions to the vision of the whole ecosystem, to the main goal, the main purpose of the ecosystem, which is the co-creation of a focal value proposition, a focal solution that can contribute to sustainable industry. Uh, and then as the second activity, they need to set some governance structures in place to somehow manage the expectations within the partnership and maintain accountability. And these governance structures can either be some formal forms of governance, or as we call it, contractual governance mechanisms, which are basically all the principles, all the agreements that they put on formal contracts or official documents, like, for example, how should the data sharing protocols work, or some information about how they need to share the revenues at the end of the collaboration. Or maybe it can be some informal governance mechanisms, which basically focuses on the relationship management over time within an ecosystem. And then by continuing and strengthening this relationship, they can somehow manage to build strong alliances among actors, which can actually foster some future collaboration. And then they also need to promote trust and synergies within the ecosystem. So it's obvious that trust is foundational for the ecosystem's success, and it can be achieved throughout time and by, for example, having regular updates and transparent communication. They can build the trust and they can maximize the collective strengths within the ecosystem partnership. And finally, co-creating value and continuously refining and improving the ecosystem processes are crucial. So implementing the feedback loops among actors can actually help companies to identify areas for improvement, which also helps them to ensure their long-term success of the ecosystem. And when we zoom out and look at the multi-level framework again, it becomes clear that each level contributes to achieving the triple bottom line, the economic, environmental, and social benefits. So the individual level supports innovation and proactive practices. The organizational level aligns the capabilities for strategic implementation. And finally, the ecosystem level somehow tries to ensure the collaboration and value creation within the overall ecosystem. And altogether, these levels create a robust approach to sustainable industry orchestration. And basically, all of these levels contribute to the co-creation of smart solutions that can bring economic benefits for the ecosystem actors. They can actually increase their productivity and profitability of their actions. They can reduce their manufacturing operational cost, and they can also reduce their waste and inefficient processes as part of the economic benefits. And also regarding the environmental benefits, these solutions can contribute to the reduction in, let's say, energy consumption, reduction in waste generation, and also help companies to contribute to the reduction of atmospheric pollution. And finally, and maybe the most challenging always, is to talk about the social benefits. So these solutions can actually contribute to the increase of safety of workers within companies and within the ecosystem. So basically, it can help the operators by removing the dangerous work tasks, and also it can contribute to the improvement of the staff's working conditions. And also, as you can see within this framework, we have put the social benefits in front of the individual level. We have put the economic benefits in front of the organizational level, and also the environmental benefits in front of the ecosystem level. So it is true that all of these levels together, so they should work together so that this triple bottom line can actually materialize. But we wanted to somehow demonstrate that the social benefits are somehow a broader reflection, a broader projection of the actions that people do individually. The economic benefits are a broader reflection of the organizational level. and also the environmental benefits are broader reflections of the, let's say, ecosystem level. So both the ecosystem level, organizational level, and individual level should be aligned together so that we can achieve environmental benefits. And also, in the IEEE paper, our analysis showed that there could be multiple pathways for achieving sustainable industry outcomes. So different configurations of AI-driven optimization, outcome orientation, value co-creation, and ecosystem orchestration can lead to successful results regarding the sustainable performance. So as you can see in this model, which we call it our jellyfish model, companies can take 5 different strategies for achieving sustainable performance. And the most prominent strategy that our results showed, or the most optimal one, was the platform solutions strategy, which was a combination of AI-driven optimization, outcome orientation, and ecosystem orchestration. And also we have identified 4 other strategies, namely ecosystem solution strategy, AI solution strategy, digital co-creation strategy, and also customized solution strategy. And all of them can help companies in achieving sustainable performance. And as you can see here, the most prominent one was a platform solution strategy. And as you can see, this ecosystem orchestration is one of the main conditions that contributes to the 2 most optimal strategies, namely the platform solution strategy and the ecosystem solution strategy, which actually highlights the concept of eco-finality. So it says that ecosystem orchestration can have a very critical and crucial role in realizing the sustainable performance for the customer organizations. And we actually have used the FSQCA methodology for doing this type of analysis and reaching these results. And FSQCA is the short term for fuzzy set qualitative comparative analysis. And basically, this is a method, this is a mixed method, which somehow tries to overcome the shortcomings of both the qualitative and quantitative research method. So it tries to reduce the subjectivity of the qualitative research approaches. And also it tries to build on some quantitative data to be able to find the different combinations, the different configurations that can lead to the same outcome. Okay, so for example, let's say a company let's say is not that mature enough on the digital side, but they are very well connected. They have established a lot of relationships with different types of actors within their ecosystem. So their ecosystem ability can somehow compensate for the low digital maturity. And finally, let's have a look at the theoretical contributions as well as the managerial implications of these works. Starting with the theoretical contributions, I would say that we mainly contribute to the emerging literature on digital servitization, which is one of the pathways, one of the trendiest pathways, as I call it, that can lead to sustainable outcomes for the customers. So our work contributes by shedding light on different activities which are important for digital servitizing firms as they go through their ecosystem transformation process. And we also contribute by highlighting how ecosystem collaboration in tandem with digital capabilities can enable the scaling of digital services and solutions, and as we call it, smart solutions. And they can actually, and all the effects that they can actually have on the realization of sustainable benefits for industrial customers. And also, these papers actually contribute by extending the knowledge on ecosystem orchestration as part of industrial firms' digital servitization process. And then moving to the practical implications of our work, we recommend that managers place greater emphasis on the sustainable benefits that the digital services and solutions, or as we call them, smart solutions, can bring to the industrial customers. And also, there is a need to put more emphasis and attention on the critical role of the enabling factors, especially the AI-driven optimization and ecosystem orchestration, which each of them can enable different pathways to achieve sustainable performance. So we need to know that there is no one-size-fits-all solution for achieving sustainable performance. And these enabling factors can actually compensate for the absence of other factors depending on the digital maturity and ecosystem involvement of different ecosystem actors. So we need to keep in mind that digital transformation is not just about the technology. We're not undermining the power of technology, of course, but what we're trying to say is that technology is necessary, but it's not sufficient. So it's not just about technology. It's also about the people. It's also about the culture. It's also about the softer sides of things that we need to take care of. And by that, I will end this presentation. And thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any questions, you may ask now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Milad, for sharing your insights. Very insightful. And perhaps we can share the papers also with the audience so they can find it easily. We can share them later via email.
Yes.
Yeah. And I see that there is already a question in the Q&A function. So,
Yes.
of course, Rashid, if you feel that you would like to speak up, of course, you're more welcome. You're most welcome to. But in the meantime, I will read the question. Rashid from Ulo Business School. He thanks you for your interesting presentation. He has two questions about AI. First, what are the challenges companies face in implementing AI in their organization? And second, we are always talking about the benefits of AI for organizations. But what do you think about the negative effects or consequences of AI for companies they should be aware of?
That's a really good question. That's an interesting question. So, as I always say in most of my classes when I'm talking to students, so we all hear all these trendy things happening around us regarding digital transformation and regarding all these new technologies like AI and machine learning algorithms. And if you see, if you have a look at large corporations, for example, or even some smaller or medium-sized companies, there's always some, let's call them enthusiastic engineers who always say, okay, AI, I can create very cool solutions with that. But the main question is that they need to first have a look at their business models. Do the market really ask for that solution that you're trying to develop by leveraging AI and machine learning algorithms? So this is a very important question. So does the customer really need that solution that you're going to provide them by using AI? Or can you actually create money? Because at the end of the day, it's all about value capture and how do you make money for your business? Because if you cannot maintain the economic viability of your business, then basically there is no room for going for the environmental and social aspects of sustainability. Yeah. So we have this trend of AI here, but the thing is that the companies, in my opinion, they need to put the customer at the focal point of their whole business. So they need to know and understand the demands of the customer, and they need to know whether they will be able to capture back or to create money out of that solution that they're going to provide. In my opinion, this is one of the main challenges that the companies are facing today, because to be honest with you, it's not always about taking an action about how to use AI and how to integrate AI within your business. So it's also about taking a pause, and by pause, I'm not telling that you need to pause your operations. I mean, you need to pause your thoughts, your mindset, and you need to sleep on this idea and see whether you can actually create a business out of the AI capabilities and integration of AI into your business. This is one of the main challenges that I often see, and this is basically one of the main reasons that I guess it was one of the McKinsey's reports that was mentioning that more than 70% of digital transformation efforts are leading to a failure because of this simple same reason. Because companies, they just want to integrate it, but they don't have a plan for that. I hope that I answered Rashid's question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks. It was really nice presentation, first of all. And then, yeah, because AI for many is like blockchain. So at first they all were like interested talking about blockchain, how trendy it is, how we can use it. But it seems there's a need for companies to really think if blockchain helps them. So it's also the same for AI. For sure, I will check your papers. It was really interesting. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Rashid and Milad. Very good question, very interesting actually, and that takes me to a question that I had, like about conflicting or competing sustainable aspects, like especially like when the company wants to make a profit, right? And then on the other hand, in order to make things more sustainable, they might need to invest, put money for that. And sometimes the different goals, the economic competes with the social and or environmental value. I know this is maybe not exactly the focus of your papers, but have you heard any insights on that when you are speaking with company managers?
Yeah, actually, I was working on several cases during the data collection for these two papers, and maybe one, let's say, I don't know how to call it. Should I call it funny or not? But some of the companies were just working on sustainable mining. So what's your opinion on that, Ammar? I mean, to me, it sounds a little bit, I mean, I can see the irony of that. I mean, it sounds a little bit funny. I mean, you are basically changing the characteristics of the land, and then at the same time, you're trying to call it sustainable. So this is one of the interesting cases that I had when I was interviewing different people or different manufacturers within the industry. So to me, I mean, it doesn't make that much of sense, but of course, the economic viability comes first all the time because it actually somehow helps companies to direct their environmental and social plans after that. So what do you think, Anmar?
Actually, that's very interesting because, yes, by definition, mining is not sustainable. I mean, one of the principles of environmental sustainability is not to bring out stuff from under the ground, right? But also, one can argue that until today, we need these minerals, we need these materials, we need to mine them. Until today, we have not found an alternative to many of these minerals. So
Mhm.
one might argue that until then, if we still continue to need to do the mining, at least let's minimize the negative consequences of it. Maybe that does not make it sustainable, but maybe that makes it a little bit less harmful. And these are two
Exactly.
different things. Of course, creating a positive impact for the environment is not the same as just minimizing the negative impacts, right?
Exactly. So reducing the harm, let's say the harm to people, the harm to the planet. So I totally agree with you, Anmar. Yeah. Yeah. At least the companies will be able to do something in that regard and in that direction. So it's better than doing nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe a final question. Unless someone else has a question, please write it down or simply raise your hand. But if not, I have a question about maybe have you heard much about what drives these companies to act sustainably or at least to the minimum reduce the harm on the environment? Was it the regulations or
Yes.
was it the
Yes.
regulations?
Most often, yeah, I can say it was the regulations and all those sustainable development agendas and visions which are happening on the national level, but also on the EU level and also international level. So they try to somehow synchronize themselves with those regulations and somehow adhere to those rules and regulations. And also by doing that, most of them can also contribute to their image brand, so to their brand image. So I mean, the fact that they will be recognized as as a sustainable, let's say, organization within their specific industry can contribute a lot nowadays, I can say. But yeah, most often it was the rules and regulations, but I've also interviewed with some companies or with some individuals within those companies who were very much interested in actually trying to do something about it. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
also
maybe both. We
that
can say maybe both
yeah,
of
and
them.
that's kind of goes to the individual level that you were speaking about. So
Exactly.
if you are, as a company, generally care about the environment and the society and the people,
Yeah.
then part of the recruitment is to hire people who share the same values, who genuinely want to make a difference, right? Rather than just go for the trend and
Exactly. I couldn't
pushing
agree
to some
more.
extent,
Yes,
right?
exactly. So, as I mentioned, the quotation from that lady that I was interviewing. So, these things, these changes, I mean, organizations, they're just entities. I mean, they cannot go through the change. The people, the individual within organizations are actually the ones who are leading those changes. So selecting the best leaders or selecting better leaders and key managers within the organization can actually contribute a lot to the sustainability initiative. So this is one of the main contributions of these two papers, actually, focusing on the individual level, which basically is located at the core of the organizational and ecosystem levels. So it's very important.
Okay, Milad, I think the time is up. In the last minute, I would like to take it to or use it to thank you once again for a very insightful presentation and very
Thank
nice
you for having me.
discussion. And I hope, like all of you, got some insights and yes, we will share the papers afterwards, although you can simply find Milad Kolagar in Google Scholar. I think you can easily find the paper. Otherwise, thank you everyone for attending and participating. Thanks, Milad, once again. And I wish you all a happy afternoon or a good afternoon, whatever,
Thank you.
however you want to define it. Bye bye. Take
Bye.
care.